you know, you only get one shot at this. There's no second chances, you know. Like, I only get one body, I only get one Blake. And, you know, I know from my past in, like, middle school that, you know, ending it isn't the answer. So, you know, I got to do the alternative, and that's to change.
You ready?
I'm ready, man. Let's do this.
Okay, cool. All right, so you obviously know what the series is going to be about. I just want people to be vulnerable and talk about the stuff that they have walked through. And I think that you have a pretty powerful story. And I think people need to hear it so that they're encouraged, not just in walking through it, but in being able to, like, talk about it, you know, like, not everyone talks about these kind of things. Not everyone, especially in, like, the high school, middle school stuff, like, it's just tough because you don't have I feel like you don't have people that you can just genuinely be, like, real with and just say, this is what's going on through my mind. So let's just start off, bro, with what's your name and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Blake. I'm 19, and it's been quite a journey. Started out pretty rough. You know, grew up in Christian home. You know, everything was straight, but then I started having to make decisions on my own, and around like 13, 14, you know, started stepping into like bullying and stuff like that, and kind of plagued me a bit. You know, thought I had friends, thought I had people I could trust, but kids are kids, and, you know, feelings can get hurt. You know, mine more than most, and just led me to despair. Bullying
in what sense, though? Like, do you have a specific time that you remember of something that happened?
A couple instances. I mean, you know, not the whole hanging your underwear on the hanger or anything, but just like, you know, just like the whole, like, you know, oh, you're an idiot, or oh, you're fat. And, you know, for me, like, words were really heavier. And, you know, I usually took a person, you know, and their character by how they carried themselves and how they talked. And, you know, when they would just, like, call me fat, or, you know, stupid, or like, oh, you would never make A team, or you'll never letter in baseball, you know, I just think that, you know, it was just little things. I mean, I had people like say, like, you kill yourself, like, you know, and it wouldn't even matter. You know, I had people that would leave like hate letters, like, oh, she would never take you to homecoming, or oh, she'll say no, or like, you can never date a girl like I can. And so it was just pretty darting, you know. It was just like, I mean, I know 14-year-olds are brutally honest and whatever, but, you know, I just think in a way it affected me a little more. So
dang, dude, that's insane. So why do you think that you, like, sought their approval almost? You know what I mean?
I think it was kind of because it was the people that kind of were on the surface friendship. You know, it's people that, like, you know, I went to school with, and, you know, I had class with, and, you know, we hung out, you know, in groups and stuff, but it was always that, you know, on alone affairs, you know, when it would just be me and, like, my friend Trendon, or, you know, my friend Dylan, you know, in middle school, whatever. And we'd hang out alone, we're chill, you know, playing Xbox or whatever. But, you know, the second I come in a public setting, it's like they're too good for me, or, you know, it's like I ruined their persona, or like they don't want to be like noticed as,
like they're trying to hold up an image almost.
Like I'm not good enough to be their friend almost. So it was like two-faced a bit.
Dang, dude, that's tough. So the whole time, pretty much, that you were like, what was this, like middle school, high school?
Yeah, it was early middle school, I'd say. And so it was like 6th, 7th grade, on that age.
So what was your thought process through that specific time? Does that make sense?
I think for me it just kind of felt like betrayal, you know, just kind of like, what the heck, like, why would someone who, like, calls me their friend, you know, who are, like, wants to, like, hang out with me, like, at home, and, like, you know, be chill, and, like, say they're my friend, and, like, you know, is chill around me, and, you know, like, and then all of a sudden you see them Monday at school, or, you know, Friday night, you know, lights, it's like you're nothing to them. You know, and I just think for me, like, in my thoughts, it just kind of made me like feel like, what are friends even? You know, it's like I just thought that was it, but, you know, I didn't, because I would see other people, and I would hear other people like, oh yeah, you know, I would sleep over with all the guys, and it was chill, and then, like, I would see them hanging around, you know, the concession stands at a game, and, you know, Blake pops on the scene, and it's like an alien appeared, and it's just like,
So, I mean, I'm just trying to imagine, like, because thankfully I didn't go through that with, like, in school, just because I went to a very small school, so there wasn't that much opportunity for that to happen,
but,
like, whenever that stuff was happening, did you ever talk to them about it or anything like that?
It was pretty internalized for the most part. I mean, I didn't really find my voice until I was probably later in high school, out of high school, just because I was just soft-spoken. It's just, I didn't really feel like the need to, or, I just felt like so hurt that to talk to them would be pointless.
But now you're not soft-spoken at all.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So, do you think that's like, what do you think? Do you think you never were soft-spoken, but then the events kind of led to that, or?
I think it was just kind of like a wall that built up, honestly. I just got tired of it, and I was just like, I can't really trust anybody, like anybody can stab you in the back, and so I just learned to protect myself, but to also like not care.
Yeah.
Like I would just never let people in, or I had like a level of trust I would walk through before I would do that, so that would be later avoided. And so yeah.
Dang. So if you look back, what was the one event that you would say, I guess, really kind of messed you up, whether that was like bullying or anything like that? Because I know you told me that you dealt with like depression and suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. So what would you say kind of opened the gate to that?
Yeah, I think for me, one significant instant I can recall is that there was a time, it was after we did athletics hour, and we were doing track and we were all running, all sweating, whatever, and we go to the locker room. And we go to the junior high boys locker room, and we're all showering, whatever, about to go to study hall or something, and I'm walking back to my locker to get my clothes, and as you pass the lockers from the showers, you pass the entrance door, and the entrance door led to the gym, and little did I know that they were having cheerleader practice in that gym, and so a couple of my friends, quote unquote, decided it would be funny to do the old pull the towel and lock them out, and so got kind of caught in the headlights there.
Really?
From all the middle school girls, and that was kind of the big turning point for me.
Holy! How long did they leave you out there?
It was like, felt like forever, honestly, but if I look back, honestly, maybe like 10, 15 seconds. I was like banging on the door, just screaming like a girl.
Oh my God.
Dude,
I can't imagine, honestly.
Yeah, and so it's just.
And you kept going to that school?
Yeah, well, it was pretty recent after that. We just decided to kind of call it quits, with the school system we were in the area we were living in, and we just decided to go to the homeschool route after that. My dad's occupation caused him to move a lot, like every 2 to 3 years, and that also had an effect on me with my bullying too, because we had to move around pretty recently, with his occupation, and so it was different school systems, and different school systems were different curriculums. So they put me in like, not like ADD classes, but like extra help classes, like special classes. I hate saying that, but so that kind of set me back in a way to where that it was just like, oh, like, you're the hard learning kid, or oh, you're stupid, or oh, you're the retard, or you're the reject, or whatever. And so it was about then we kind of called it quits and just decided to do it on our own.
Yeah, dude, I can't imagine the whole gym thing. Like, that's just total embarrassment. Like, that's almost like dehumanizing someone.
Yeah.
Did you like confront your buddies, man? Because I would have been pissed.
It's funny.
I feel like I would have been like, all right, we're about to throw some hands.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that, because there was a time, a friend of mine that I'm still with, from that time period, there was a Friday night game, and this is probably 3 years ago, and this was 7th grade to like, senior year, and so I kind of put on some size and grew up a little bit, and I was like, all right, I kind of got my voice back, like we were saying, and so
you're like, try and push me out of the gym now.
No, for real. And so I was talking with my friend I was connected with, from the previous school, and I was like, hey, like, whatever happened to like so and so, like, do you ever get big or whatever? And she's like, oh no, he's a toothpick, or like, oh yeah, he's a twig. And I'm like, all right, let's go. I was fixing to like throw hands, but it was all talk, but
thankfully.
Yeah.
So was that event, did that open kind of like a door to like the depression and like the suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, I think
like I'm sorry guys, the reason we keep swinging our hands is because there's freaking mosquitoes, because there's like these dudes, like, they're working on my house right now, which I didn't know was gonna happen, and so I just was like, okay, you know what, we've been putting this off for a while, so I was like, let's do this outside. And that's why we're swinging, so it's just mosquitoes.
Yeah, we're good.
But okay, so gym event.
Yeah.
Did that lead to like the whole depression and
it was pretty the tip of the iceberg. I'd say, you know, there were smaller events, you know, where like go to the bathroom and, you know, they push you in the urinal and you get your shirt wet.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there's a time, you know, where they'll like mess with you in class, you know, like stick gum in your hair, you know, things like that. But I think
so they did all of that to you.
Oh yeah, they like, I remember there was one time they put me in a blind corner and like, you know, it was a blind corner, it was like a little 3 foot, you know, by 5 foot deep little construction corner they just had built with this structure of the school, and they just kind of like pushed me in there, 2 of them where the cameras couldn't catch me, and they just kind of took out their aggression for a minute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, got the best of me on that. And so I'd say it was probably that though, you know, the whole gym incident, because I mean that was just like it, you know, that was probably the worst of the worst. And
dude, I can't imagine like just constantly going to school and having to go through that.
Yeah. And so I think ultimately it was that, you know, just I was just depressed. I mean, I was like, after that it was just, I didn't even want to live anymore. It's just like friends I thought were friends weren't, you know, they were just like out to get me, and like I would never do anything to cause it. I was just this, you know, 5'2" chubby middle school kid, you know, who just wanted to be friends with all the kids he's going to this new school with for 2 years. And, you know, I'm the new kid on the scene, you know, every couple of years. And so like I'm a pretty outgoing guy, I want to be friends. And, you know, like I never had that growing up because, you know, that kind of was restricted, you know, when we were moving around, or, you know, just like inaccessible to having like long steady friends. And so I was always striving for that.
Yeah.
And I never knew what it looked like, which probably was making me susceptible and like put a target on my back.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I didn't know how to communicate, you know. I was like pretty soft spoken, and, you know, I just let it happen because I didn't know what the other side of it looked like, so it was acceptable to me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I would just internalize it, never told my parents until like way later, you know, to where it was anything to be dealt with. You know, I just kind of just assumed this is my life, and, you know, this is the world, and, you know, I just gotta deal with it. And it was dark.
And you didn't talk to anyone about it?
No, I don't think. I mean, the school, and they knew about it, but, you know, these were kids, you know, who like were since birth, and their parents went to the school, and like, you know, heart lovers, you know, since middle school, and like, you know, they're like foundational people to the community. And so these are the kids that grew up, and they're just kind of like grandfathered in and like always got away with the stuff, and like, oh, my dad, you know, won the state championship and, you know, of like 89 or whatever. And so I think they just kind of like knew who they were, and they just, you know, felt, you know, that they were untouchable. And so that's how that happened.
Dang, dude. So the whole like suicidal thought stuff, did that ever like you said that crossed your mind multiple times? Was that ever like pretty serious, you would say? I've
had a few failed attempts, actually, sad to say. I mean, you know, there was definitely times, you know, I would be so low. I was so done at trying, you know. I would just have faith restored, you know, going to a new school, and then it would just be the same scenario. And, you know, I didn't know how to communicate it, and, you know, I didn't know how to tell my parents because I didn't want it to be my fault, and I didn't know how it would be reacted to. And so I remember there were times, you know, I would like take like a bunch of like pain medications, you know, and there'd be times, you know, I would just like drink like Clorox or something and like make myself real sick, or, you know, I would literally find myself at times like YouTubing like how to like instantly kill yourself. Yeah. Like, what's the easiest way? What's the quickest way?
So
like,
you were genuinely looking for a way out.
Yeah.
Golly, bro, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I know your story, but I didn't know it to that detail. You know what I'm saying?
It's pretty rough. But yeah.
That sucks. So you felt like you didn't have, like, because I know your family.
Right.
So you didn't feel like you had, like, you could even talk to your cousins or anything like that?
I think with the whole cousin situation, like, we were close, but I didn't feel like there was relatable ground. Yeah. You know, I mean, they were the reason we ended up taking homeschooling after the fact of bullying, but the fact that they were never really in a public school environment to where
you just couldn't relate.
Yeah, it's just like I would feel like I'd be talking to a foreign language, you know, in a sense, because it's like they've been sheltered their whole life. You know, their mom's a teacher and their dad's a principal, and you know, their classmates are their brother and sisters. You know, and so I could probably say to them like, "What are you talking about?" Or, you know, like, okay, like, you know, it's just they don't know. And so I couldn't really talk to my cousins, and, you know, I felt with my parents, you know, growing up, it was really hard for me to like vocalize my placement in life and where I was at, whether it was like sad or angry, depressed, suicidal, because, you know, looking back now, I can see the rates going up because of kids in my situations, but I would never know how to be like a 10-year-old saying like, mommy, like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be with God now.
Yeah.
I don't like it here. Like, how do you say it? Like, I couldn't imagine as a parent, you know, like thinking like, you know, you're raising your kid right and you're doing good by them, and like having this big news. And so it was just something I felt better off quiet.
So you just felt like no one could help you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you almost stopped yourself from reaching out.
Yeah.
And that was just because, I mean, I would assume you're not being accepted at school. You're not being accepted by your friends. The people that you spend the most time with, technically.
Yeah.
At that age.
It's true.
And then it's like, they're probably not going to understand either because they're older, or they probably didn't go through it.
That too, but I think also that they would just kind of see it as over dramatic.
Yeah.
Because this was probably a 6-year climb, you know, before it all got heavy. And so for it to just come up all of a sudden, like,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, it would have just been like, oh my gosh. And then I think a freak out would have occurred, you know, knowing my parents or my dad, let alone like snapping necks and, you know, going hard, you know, about it. You know, I just couldn't see it fit. And so I think I was disabled with fear because I felt like it was too late, you know, to say something. It was just like, oh, well, it's 4 years of ongoing struggle and trials and tribulation. You know, it's numb. You know, to tell them it would be too late, I felt.
Do you think it would have made a difference if you could have just like opened your mouth, like not caring what they thought, or if you got judged?
Yeah.
You think it would have made a difference?
I think definitely. I think looking back, you know, there's a lot of regret, but you know, I think there would have been, if I could tell the younger version of myself in that time, I'd probably like just say it, just like if I could just scream it out, just like I'm hurt, like I would do it, you know. It was just wasn't available at the time, but yeah, I can see myself looking back.
If you could go back to, like you said, the younger you, and you could be your best friend, what would you have done to make you feel like I can talk to you?
I would just be an open vessel, you know. I would just be an open person to that kind of situation, to that kind of person. And, you know, as a friend that would value someone in that circumstance, to see what they're going through, and, you know, have them as a friend and like catch it before it becomes bad, you know. And so, you know, just.
But like, for example, how do you catch it if they never talk about it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what would you, like, just imagine you being a friend to you whenever you like got kicked out in the gym, locked out, and they were doing all that crap to you. Like, how would you approach that person to where you're like, anything that you need to like make them feel comfortable talking to you? You know what I mean? I'd be livid at them, you know. Yeah. The ones who did it, but you know, I think for me, I would probably just confront that person who did it, you know, and you know, I'd be like, bro, like, what the heck are you doing, bro? That's not cool. And then to the friend of me, I would probably be like, hey man, are you okay? Like, I mean, I can see that scenario in the other eyes and just be like, that's not normal, you know, that's not okay. Yeah, because then that would have shown you like this person cares. Yeah. Like genuinely enough to say something. Definitely. Dang, dude, that's insane. Well, I mean, eventually, like, what happened? Like, because everything turned around.
Yeah, it's a little different now. I think for me, what really just kind of turned around was just hitting the highs and the lows in life, and you know, getting older, and you know, just kind of becoming more independent, and you know, finding my character, and you know, like really figuring out who Blake is. Yeah. And I think in that walk, I realized that, you know, like I said, you know, where I was like once quiet and soft-spoken to like now where I'm like, I'll say anything to anybody, like I don't care, you know. It's just kind of like I'll own it, you know. I'm not in fear. I'm not like walking in like condemnation or shame or anything. Yeah. You know, like I'm Blake freaking Mechler, you know. Yeah. And I own that. And so I think what got me to that was just realizing that if I'm the only one that can control me, and if I'm the only one that can do that, I gotta be real with me. Yeah. I gotta be authentic with me, because I'm the only one that can change me. I can't do anything about the world. I can't do anything to the people I'm in life with. You know, the only one I can control is me. No matter how bad it is, it's Blake's choices for me. Yeah. And so I think when I had that realization, you know, I was at a low place. I was overweight. I was depressed again, you know, at 15 years old. You know, I weighed 260 pounds. Dang. And, you know, I was 6
I didn't
foot.
think you got that big.
Yeah, it was, the scale said otherwise, man. I think I hit it well because of my frame.
Yeah.
You know, I shot up, you know, I went from 5'2" to like 140 to like 6 foot 2 in a 3-4 year time span. And unbeknownst to me, I don't think it was necessarily the depression or like the suicidal or sadness that gained the weight. I think it was just the lack of awareness, because like I did grow up so fast, I like had to fulfill that frame.
Yeah.
And you know, I just got to a point to where my metabolism was working for me, and you know, like a couple of 20 pieces at McDonald's were just flyweight, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, but at one point I was just like, all right, you're done growing, and when you stop growing up, you start growing out. And you know,
that's true.
That's where it all happened for me. But it was a real turnaround when I said, you know, like to be real and everything, because I mean, I couldn't even see my toes, you know. I was like real out there, you know. I like wore a lot of baggy shirts to try and hide it, you know, but like my face was like very circular and round and like spherical, and you know, I just kind of lost my figure, you know, I once had. And so it was just kind of like, wake up, like, you know, you only get one shot at this. There's no second chances, you know. Like I only get one body, I only get one Blake. And you know, I know from my past in like middle school that, you know, ending it isn't the answer. So you know, I got to do the alternative, and that's to change. So
dude, I think what you said is huge, like just being able to be real with yourself. That's why I wanted to start this, because I feel like if people are honest with themselves, like genuinely, like you get down to like just being flat out the realest that you can be with yourself, you realize that no one's gonna do anything for me, no one's gonna figure it out for me, and I have to do it on my own. And I think what happens is that almost gives you like the drive to say, okay, you know what, like I no longer care what anyone thinks.
yeah.
So if they ask, I'm gonna be honest,
right.
You know, kind of thing. And so I feel like that's kind of what's happened in your story. You got to that point,
yeah.
And then people, you know, you got into, you know, church where you were surrounded by people that
right.
Like genuinely cared,
yeah,
and were interested,
right.
You know, I mean, everywhere there's just people that are like, hi, how you doing?
Right.
Yeah. But then you had the people that were like, hey man, what's going on?
Yeah.
And you're able to talk about it.
For sure.
But it only happened when you were like real with yourself and then real with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you could say something to help out someone that was in your shoes, like, what would you say to them?
Man, that's a good question.
Or that was in your shoes.
Right, yeah, no, for sure. I would just say, just have that racehorse mentality. I've kind of used this illustration, you know, throughout the past couple of years, you know, my teenage years, and it's just kind of that mentality of just having that racehorse mentality. Just put on the blinders and just run.
Yeah.
You know, like don't look left, don't look right. Like, but when that gun goes off in this game of life, it's just go. Yeah. Like, you don't look at the clock, you don't look behind, you're not looking left or right, you're just going, you're just running, you know, running for you. You're not running for the people in the stands.
Yeah.
You're not running for the people that might see this, you know, on TV. You're not running for the medal, you're just running to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's your job. Yeah. You're a racehorse. You know, you don't look left, you don't look right, you stay in your lane, you watch the line, and you just carve the corners, and you just go. Yeah. And it's just, I think I say that because it's like, in this millennial age, it's so frustrating, you know, seeing a generation slip away. Yeah. Because everyone is just so caught up in the fab, and you know, everyone's caught up, you know, with the celebrities and the life and the wow and the ooh and the ah. Yep. And they get so envious and so jealous and so materialistic in a world that not even those people are happy. Yeah. I mean, the suicidal rate for celebrities is well over 50. You know, you look at people like, you know, that have OD'd on drugs, like Prince, Michael Jackson. You look at people that have died, like Robin Williams, you know, who would look like they have it all together, and they don't. Yeah. So.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I just want to encourage anyone who's watching, like, just talk to someone. Like, no matter what your issue is, if it's small or if it's big, like, just find someone, be honest with them. Yeah. And, you know, if that person shuts you down, talk to someone else, because not everyone is not gonna care. Right. There's gonna be someone that you're gonna connect with. That's it. Is it cool if I put your your Instagram handle? Oh, yeah. So if people see it and for sure they want to like talk to you about whatever.
Most definitely, man.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
All right, bro. Man, that's it, bro. Thanks so much.
No problem.
I love you, bro.
Love you, man. Oh, that was good.
Dude, that's intense, dog.
Yeah, it's a wild one.